I welcome you one more time to another edition of my global broadcast called the Semaj Mind Spa. Mind, the ultimate frontier, consciousness, reality is created. And of course, the spa, removing toxins and nurturing and nourishing positive, healthy growth. How are you today? The theme of my discourse, reasoning today is reparations operationalized. We've been talking about all different kinds of approaches to reparations, and it's almost seen as somebody giving us something, various forms, various ways in which that could be done. But I think there's some other ways that we could see this in a very organic, where we really have some control over things, and we're doing it now in ways that we're not fully articulated. So let me explain what I mean by this. Now, 2017, in this iconic building, we established an office. Hmm? The Above or Beyond, that was just my company. We established an office here, registered an office, and started operating from here. Now, we've been doing so since then, but then last year, when the coronavirus became quite evident in terms of what was happening and what was possible, we did a lot more things at this side, because it is my observation that Jamaica is going to take a much longer time to fully recover than the United States, and we're seeing that now. And we did this. Recently, a man said to me, asked me a question. So, Dr. Semaj, when did you migrate? So I explained to him, no, 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 no. We have never migrated. I have an office and a home in Kingston, Jamaica. I have an office and a home in the United States. So just like many other people do, we do just that. So what we've actually done is this whole thing about knowledge transfer, knowledge workers. Don't just think of Jamaican bringing farm workers or coming to the United States to do a little cutting lawns and or just to look work. Yes, Jamaicans have done a lot of incredible things all over the world. But why can't we also provide knowledge work straight from Jamaica to the United States? Not just the US sending expertise and experts to Jamaica. Hmm? And as in the article that we published back then, our ambition, capacity, and capability growing faster than the Jamaican economy. When you have dreams and you have visions that's bigger than an island, you have to give place to grow. Hmm? We think it's time to export the Jamaican intellectual capacity for knowledge work and creative problem solving to the world, where there's an effective demand and the ability and desire to pay for that value. Jamaica is a lot more than music, sports, and beaches. Wouldn't you say? I'm sure we all agree with this. So this is nothing new, nothing novel. We've been doing it piece by piece by piece all over the world. Jamaica's knowledge, capacity to solve problems, to do things. So we just said, look, we're going to do this too, right? We're going to make this happen to make sure that now, for quite some times, Jamaicans have been spread it out. Now, I raise this point. You've heard it said that when the tide rises, all boats will rise. So that if your boat is in Kingston Harbor versus if your boat is in Fort Lauderdale Harbor, it's a little different in terms of which tide will catch the boat first. Hmm? Quite different. So you understand the point we're making. Now, I have defined this term African Americas. It's a term that we all hear, we all use, but let me let me share with you how I've been using this. In 1978, when I wrote my dissertation, I had one footnote, and I explained that African Americans are persons of African historical and cultural identity, born in the Americas. Now, it can be North America, South America, Central America, or the Caribbean. That whole space called the Americas. And understand what I mean by this. Look, the colonizers came to Africa and they expanded their territory to Africa and the Caribbean to benefit from the resources available in those places. So, why can't we do the same? Why can't we also expand from wherever we are into all the other places on our own terms? What's wrong with that? So you understand what this is about, how we make this happen. Because look, if we don't do it, someone else will certainly will. Because the time is now right to take on those things to make sure those things happen. This is important that this be done. So we make sure that we are the ones that are facilitating this process at this time. All right? African Americans, broader term. A couple of years ago, I had a very interesting discussion with John Issa. We were in the Bahamas talking, and he said to me, Leahcim, our people in Jamaica all came from somewhere else. Huh? My people came from Africa. Some people, their people came from Lebanon, from Syria, from Europe. But then the question he raised, where is it ordained that Jamaica should be your last stop? Provocative, huh? Nowhere is that ordained. And you've seen that Jamaicans have been moving around from long time. Jamaicans went to help build the Panama Canal. Jamaicans went to London to help build England. Jamaicans took part in World War One and World War Two. But so why can't we broaden that process now in terms of how we as knowledge workers, building businesses, expanding from Jamaica, moving to other places? Huh? This song here is very interesting. I got to go back home. You familiar with it? Hmm? Very interesting song. This song was came out in 1966. I lived in New York, largely between New York and New Jersey in the 70s. Let's call it the 70s. Huh? When I went to school, now it was one of the biggest tunes at most of the parties. The intent in the song from Bob Andy, I gotta go back home. He was talking about going back home to Africa. But Jamaicans in the diaspora love this song. And in every party that I was, when the song mashed up the place, people were saying about going back home to Jamaica. Hmm? So that in North America, in Europe, a lot of Jamaicans and other Caribbean people now exist and have existed from then. Many with the intention of working, getting an education, earning some money, and then going back home. But it never really happened. Many now have children and grandchildren and great grandchildren who are, to a large extent, a part of the United States, a part of Europe. Nothing wrong with that. The only thing is that it's only over the last decade or so that they have been adjusting their sentiments, acknowledging that the chance of you going back to Jamaica is quite slim. Maybe you go back home in a box because Your children not necessarily have an intention of going there. But guess what? We can now make sure that we can move back and forth between both places. We have that capacity to do both. So we can have homes and businesses in Jamaica, homes and businesses in the United States. The same way that the colonizer came and went wherever they wish and they built things in their own likeness and so on. Why can't we do that too? Why can't we do that too? So I believe it's important to be done now. It says sometimes not about the quality of the bait that you're fishing with nor your fishing rod. You could just be fishing in the wrong spot. So some people who are in Jamaica and the Caribbean, and you have capacity, you have identity that is broader than the island, you have business plans and desire that you can see yourself marketing thing to more than 3 million people. How about 350 million people? Maybe you need to fish in another spot. Maybe you need to reach out. Our artists have done that. Huh? It is said that you should move. Why? You are not a tree. When your ambitions and capabilities are growing faster than the environment in which you live, it's time to fish in a new pond. So that many Jamaicans and other Caribbean people who move to the United States to fish in a new pond, that's part of the reality. Now, it's time to articulate this. And then when you get there, make sure you do the kind of things to claim the territory in the same way that colonizers claimed other territories. Why not? When I draw on the wisdom tradition that tells us that, oh, that you would be bless me and enlarge my territory. Let your hand be with me and keep me from harm, so that I will be free from pain. Enlarge my territory. Why not? Huh? We call it now the prayer of Jabez. Oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory, and your hand would be mine, and that you would keep me from evil, that I may cause pain. So you understand now the process of enlarging territory. Not just an island, not just specks in the Caribbean, but why not the entire Americas? Why not? Yes, I will give you and your offspring after you the land of your sojourning. We have worked in these lands for everlasting possession. We have worked very hard in these lands. So, could this not be a form of operationalizing reparations, whereby now we now can take our share of these lands? I remember, as a graduate student in the United States, my mother was a US citizen, so was my father. And so was I qualified, but boy, I'm a Jamaican. I'm a Jamaican. I remember one day, senior Air Force officer who was giving a talk somewhere told me that, listen, you have all the reasons why you could be and should get the benefits of being a US citizen. Because it is our responsibility to keep people like you safe and make sure you can help us to build this territory also. And I thought about it, and I saw how to the extent that so many things were available to people who were US citizens. Oh, but then I thought to myself, Jah never built no wire fence. Who determined which wire fence you should be behind? And if you understand, how where we were born, accidents of history. Accidents of history determine who was born in Central America, South America, Trinidad, Jamaica, the United States. So, yes, those places may provide our nationality, but it does not transform our identity. And we can have multiple nationalities. We can certainly have, and we can make sure that we can operationalize this whole process of reparations. Huh? Louise Bennett saw a version of this a long time ago, huh? Colonizing in reverse. Hmm? Looking at how the kind of things that we were doing. And she talked about England, how Jamaicans were going to England and the kind of things that they were doing there, colonizing in reverse. So, Europe and now the Americas, colonizing in reverse. Isn't colonizing in reverse a way of operationalizing reparations where we can take back these areas in our own likeness and make sure that we help to build these places? So, why can't we claim that which is part of our own too? Yes, if you are in Jamaica and the Caribbean, do not feel that you are stuck there. It was merely an accident of history to determine where you were born. I have broadened the construct. African Americas, anybody of African historical, cultural heritage, born in the Americas, we are one people. We are one people. Don't let them divide us. Who is Trinidadian, who is Jamaican, who is Costa Rican, who. No, no, no. We are one people. Feel free to move around the region. Feel free to, whatever talents and skill you have, where can you market it best? Where can you build your own brand? Where can you contribute? And where can you operationalize the construct of reparation? All of us in these regions came from somewhere else. Who said that where you currently live should be your last stop? Make sure that you continue to grow and contribute, and you can enlarge your territory as we operationalize reparations. I'd love to hear your views on this construct. I'd love to hear your views. Till we meet again, we give thanks.